I want to return to what you started talking about in your introduction, that this film evolved from personal experience of being unable to properly grieve for your own dad. So I guess I want to start just by asking what drew you to begin this film in that state of mourning, and uh, what did it kind of reveal to you about your own experience?
Oh, so I no, I mean, I didn't want to explore anything about my queerness. It's just simple, as I said. It was actually, um, so my dad knew, as you know in the film. My parents knew, and I had stopped going to my villages for almost a decade because of the same reason. Because everyone used to ask about my marriage, and I didn't want to answer that and or be in that discussions. So I used to avoid, but when dad passed away, I had to go. And I mean, instead of, as you saw that I just couldn't grieve. Everyone was just coming to us, and they had that one question all the time, and I was so frustrated that throughout that time I was only thinking about, I don't know who will come next and ask me the same question and how I'm gonna deal with that. So I didn't have time to actually grieve, and that's when I had this thought and about a friend, and it really stayed with me. And more than anything, I was suddenly actually intrigued with that idea, because suddenly I thought I have an idea for a film, future film. So that was more interesting to me at that moment, and it actually helped me also, to forget that pressure for a while. And I was just thinking about it a lot, and it stayed for a long time. And because it was uh, 90% film that you saw, it's fiction, so there was nothing like this happened. So I just wanted to make a tender journey for the character mainly. That's what I wanted to do. And in the other way, it was also, I wanted for audience to experience that warm during this time that we usually associate with sadness. And so I just wanted to create that experience for audience also, and for the character, and which was not for me. So mainly this exploration was for that reason.
You also mentioned in the introduction that it's a quiet film,
Yeah.
which it is. But I think there's also just a lot of restraint in this film, not just in the sound design, but in the writing, in the images, and the performances. And so I guess I'm just curious. In spite of all that, I think the film is dealing with a number of different complex emotional registers, and so I'm wondering how you sort of write these emotional currents while at the same time holding so much back. I mean, did your screenplay have more, and then it was a process of paring things down, or was this kind of a natural state of writing for you?
Yeah, so basically my writing process is usually, if I have an idea, uh, I just toy with that idea for a very long time. In this case, I had decided in 2016, and I started writing in 2020. So all this year, I was just toying with that idea. And so, sorry, that's actually my alarm to write something every night.
Okay. Don't let us stop you.
I'll do it after the screening. I just do this small writing every day, so that's the alarm. So if even if I'm outside, so I know that, so I just write on my phone. At home, I write in my diary, but here at anyway. So sorry. uh, Sorry, what was the question? Forgot.
What was the question? Just sort of, I guess, writing with this like
Yeah.
sense of
So,
restraint.
so in 2020, I started writing. So all this while, I was just toying with the idea, and it also tells me if the idea has stuck with me this long, then I have to write. And by that time, I have some images in my mind, or some notes, visual notes mostly. Or if I'm talking to someone, through that conversation, I find something. Oh, this can be part of this film, and so that happens all the time. And so there's this time comes where your head is saturated with all this images and notes for this idea, and actually that forces you to write. That forces me to write, and that's when I sit to write, and actually I start writing the screenplay, not the story outline or the character sketches or history of them. I don't do all of that. Quickly start writing, because when I'm writing, I need to know everything, all the action lines, the dialogues, the sound, and everything. And because I think visually, I try to write images that I see. So as I write one scene, I get idea for the next one or third one. That's what my process is. So even sometimes I don't know what is how this story is going to shape, and it's actually exciting to me as well. And but specifically with this film, I knew that this film is not going to end tragically, or not even or not even complete happy ending. At least I wanted to end it somewhere optimistic, but what that would be, I didn't know. So as I was writing, and when that scene came where Balya says that he wants to come, and Anand says I'm not in a state to take any decision, and I was like, oh my, now how this thing will happen, you know. So but it was just writing, continue, I just continue writing, and I get somewhere. So that's how the writing. So all that you see, all that you hear and see, everything was mentioned in the script. Even the sound design was mentioned in the script. One of my sound designers and the producers is here. Naresh, please stand up. And my other producer, my main producer, Neeraj Churi, is also here. Is he here? Here. Oh, oh, okay, he's here. Uh, so yeah, I mean, all of these things were written in the script, and when we locked our locations, I did my storyboard. So all the images that you see here were drawn on the paper. So that's how my process is usually.
I mean, well, obviously a lot of this also rests on the performances.
Yeah.
So I'm curious how you found your lead actors.
So all the actors are professional actors. They are not non-actors, except the grandmother. She's actually not a chef. I mean, she cooks good, and her sons actually run an Instagram account for her where she makes village recipe, and she's very famous. And she also got a YouTube Disruptor Award in Maharashtra. So I share this food videos with my friends, and one of my friends, he shared her video, and when she was, making this recipe, she was also talking, and she was explaining the recipe, and I just loved her look and her voice, and I said, can we ask her to give the audition? And that's when my casting director Yugandhar Deshpande, he reached out to her, and we asked for her audition. So she's actually, in that sense, not a professional actor, but the rest of them are professional actors. Um, the two boys are theater actors. They studied together actually. They studied acting together, and since then they've been working together. And this is their first feature, but they are professional actor. The mother, she's professional actor. She does a lot of TV and theater. I mean, she's done some feature as well, but this is her longer role in a feature length film. And so casting took a long time, almost 3 years. At the end of the 3 year, I found these two guys. Mother was the first one that whom I found. I found her in 2021, and since then she was like, I want to do this film. I'm there. All, no matter whenever you are making it, I'm there. So that was a good thing. And I wanted Anand, actor for Anand, I mean, his life journey should be similar to characters. Like I wanted that actor to have roots in that same region, but someone who was raised in a city. And actually, that's the case with Bhushan. He's from that region, but he grew up in a city called Surat near to Mumbai. And I wanted actor for Baya from the same region. And when I finalized Bhushan, I told him that, I'm sure you know a lot of actors of your age, and can you suggest me someone for Baya's role? And if you can, if you know someone from that region, it will be. And he said, my best friend is from that region, and we studied together. And he immediately showed me his images on Instagram, and I was like, oh, that's actually perfect. He looks the way I wanted him Baya to look. The only thing was I needed to hear his voice and his accent, because he's from there, and I wanted that person to have that accent. And I called him. I mean, Bhushan called him, and I spoke to him, and his sound and his accent was spot on. And I asked him, "Can you come, I mean, and meet me. He came, and I just spoke to him. I never took his audition actually. And I told him that, would you like to do this film? And he was ready actually. And that's how I found them. For the villages, initially I wanted non-actors for the same reason, for the look and authenticity. But we couldn't shoot for that many days. I mean, you really need a longer schedule for to shoot with non-actors. I mean, though we shot this in 38 days, I would have needed more days to work with non-actors. And I was like, I asked my casting director, can we go to local theater groups? So, those actors are local and they would know acting, so that will be much easier. And that's what we did. And we started casting from the local theater groups, and that's how we found all of them. Some of them have actually acted in much more Marathi films. Some of them were in even Nagaraj Manjoy's Fandry. So that's how I found the rest of them.
I'll just ask one more, and then we can open it up. But so in terms of the setting, you shot this in your mom's village?
Yes, in my mama's village, in my mother's village where she grew up. Yeah.
What I guess what was how did that personal connection sort of help you, or maybe at times challenge you in terms of shaping the tone and atmosphere of the film?
So I knew since the beginning that I needed a village surrounded by mountain and dry. And that was one of the first villages that we went to in 2021 March when we started the location Reiki. And I found the bungalow. And initially in the script, the houses were almost next, facing each other. Their doors were facing each other. So I found the bungalow and I was so happy. But there was no house which was facing the bungalow, and I rejected that time. And for 3 years we were just roaming everywhere, and we didn't find. And finally my EP Kishore Sawant, he said, Rohan, you're not going to get everything, you have to do some compromises. And I was like, yeah, I mean literally it was 2024, sorry, 2023, and we needed to shoot in winter, and if we didn't have the location, we would have to wait for another year. And I was like, I have to, okay, what is the best compromise that I can do? And then I just went on Google Maps and started looking at my mama's village and that bungalow, and I saw this other house which was facing on the opposite side. And I was like, but this looks nice. It even has the cow shed and everything, and it has space in front of it. Can I just go and see it again? And the next day, immediately, again, we did another Reiki because I wanted to see it. I wanted to just be in that space and see it. And I went there and took some pictures because there were some scenes which happened between the houses. So if the house is facing in the other direction, so I just wanted to see if I can do some modification in those scenes visually. And I took some picture according to the scene, and it worked. And that's when I called everyone, okay, we have the location, let's start doing it. And then all the other location we found around that village actually. So and and it's quite funny, when I used to go to my mama's village in my childhood to spend summer vacations, I was fascinated with this village because this was the only village that looked different because it had so many mountains. All the other villages were flat, there were no mountains there. So this looked so different. And I was in love with film since my childhood, and the screen and the camera. So I used to look at this village and just imagine looking at it through a camera, and I used to think that someone should shoot a film here. And I didn't know that I will be the one who will actually shoot the film. So that was actually the connection, and it was amazing. The whole village was helping us. My mama and my other relatives in that village, they were helping us. So that was exciting. Another thing is the lake that used to where the two boys swim. That's actually man-made lake because that village didn't have any water source. So long ago, they started digging the lake, and my mom who was a teenager at that time, she was one of the laborers there. So that was exciting to know about. When we were actually shooting, my mom never told me about it, so I got to know about that then, and so it was interesting shooting
Sounds
there.
like you got closer to your family.
Yeah. And I spent a lot of time with my relatives finally, which I didn't in a decade when I was avoiding meeting them. While making this film, it took us 5 years to make. So I was making constant trips to the village and staying there. So I spent a lot of time there and with the village, with the relatives. And thankfully, now they don't ask me the marriage question. Now they ask me, when is your, shooting? So, and now they ask me, when are you showing us the film now? I mean, you're going all over the world and we want to watch the film. And so
wow.
that's the change, which is a good change, actually.
Progress. All right, let's open it up to the audience. We can take you first. We'll have a mic come to you in a second.
Thank you so much for this beautiful, beautiful movie.
you.
So I just had a question, and maybe as a follow-up for what you had said about this is a very quiet film. And I was really struck, obviously, by the moments where the sound was really loud, like in the beginning when everyone was crying, and when when there was a fight in the house. But I wanted to know your process for how you decided when you would have moments of silence. And there was a moment that really struck me when they were under the tree and they were both talking and we couldn't hear what they were saying, and it was very, very quiet. So just curious how you decided when you would have those moments of silence specifically and how you evolved that over the course of the film.
Oh, actually, I don't have actual answer for that, because as I said, I don't plan anything. While you just write and these things happen, you see the images and you hear. Nothing is actually planned that, okay, here I'm gonna have silence or anything. And most of that actually also, it was developed during sound design as well when we were doing it. So there were some scenes where we actually made it quiet during sound designing. But yeah, I mean, all of these things I didn't plan anything. I mean, I was just trying to create an experience. And when I was writing it, though writing those images and sound, whatever felt right at that moment, I just did that. And actually, for me, it's mostly intuitive rather than planning anything. And if while writing it feels right, it just feels right.
So hand behind.
Hi, Rohan, कसा आहेस?
Me take.
धुळे संगमनेर represent.
Oh,
Kamal filmmaking here. I had one question, which was like, I really found the humor to be very interesting because you've got a very dark situation, but the humor is not morbid. It's kind of like a comedy of manners in a way, so like, and I just like, I'm from that area, so I know, I could just see myself and all the people I grew up with on the big screen, and working with the actors to bring out these moments where it's a very like a fine balance of things, without losing the sensitivity of the situation. So I wanted to like ask you, how do you plan it in a way? How did you work with the actors about it? Were there rehearsals where you were like, no, 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 it's not like this. Let's try it this way, etc. What was your approach to the humor, especially?
oh, no, I'm actually even happy. Actually, the people here responded very differently this time, and suddenly, when people like you mentioned that there's a dark humor, I actually felt that today. So that was nice. But yeah, I mean, whatever was written like as a dialogue, which was based on all the experiences that I had, not even during my dad's or just generally. And these things happen, but we found them funny right now when we watch them, but not when we are experiencing them. So I was just writing that, but then when you see it, that's when you start find it, this dark humor. And I just wrote it as people would talk in real life, because that's what I absorb all the time. And even while writing, I try to write how a real person will talk or how that character will actually talk, and I write it like that. So most of the time, that also helps actors. So as I said, that everything, like sound design and everything, was part of it. So all these words were also part of that process. In a way, when then the actors read it, they understand the actual tone of the film. What is the tone of the film? And after that, of course, we did readings, because during that time, I mean, we didn't have enough money that time to, host all the actors in the city and do the rehearsals together for days. So what we used to do, we used to gather on Zoom every evening for 2 hours. and we would just do readings most of the time, because I just wanted them to also understand how I'm hearing the film in my head. So I would just ask them to read the way they wanted, and then if I felt anything, I would just tell them, and then they would just try to adapt it. And because I had told them that I want the film to feel real, not what we usually see, the way we usually see films or experience. I don't want that. I want something real. And I also realize is most of them have experienced this kind of situation, as I mean the death and the grieving period, so they know. And that's what even they used, though their experiences, to craft their own performances. So most of the time we would just be on Zoom, read, and on the shooting time, when we were shooting the film, I would just shape the performances, physical performances. So that's how we worked. And yeah, I mean, it was tough with the actually village actors, because as I said, they were the local theater actors. The theater acting there is different, and it's theater, right, on the stage, so it's usually loud. And it was funny, even they used to say this, that while working in this film, they had to literally they had to bring their performance literally to the ground. And they used to say, this is too difficult for us, we have never done this simple acting in our life. So but they did it, that with every take they could go to that desired performance that I wanted. They could shape it. That made them good actors. And I'm so happy that they gave me what I wanted, and they really understood what I wanted. So that's how yeah, we shot it. And everything, the humor was always there, but I just didn't know that it is this funny, that I experienced it the way I experienced it today.
Yep, right here.
Hi, Rohan. My name is Saturday. The film was wonderful.
Thank you.
And I, I'm wondering how you figured out how to get started in making a film, right? Because, there's so many people involved. And I'm not talking about this film specifically, but your first film that you made, production, finance, legal, marketing, getting the people to watch your film, like all of these things. Like, how did you do the first one?
Oh, okay. Uh, First, I started writing. I wrote it, and then I shared it with Neeraj, my producer. And when he read it, he said, "Okay, I want to do this film." And we anyway wanted to do a feature film together, because we made a short film before this. And when he said, "Let's do it," I knew that there are going to be a lot of challenges, because the kind of film I wanted to make, I knew that we're not gonna find support that easily. But we just wanted to do it. It took us a long time, and other thing that I knew, that I want to submit the script to labs and markets. There were two reasons. One was, I told Neeraj that this will give us publicity in a way, in international market. People will start knowing international producers, buyers, sales agents, festivals. They will start knowing, and because I am not a studied filmmaker, it will give me a chance to interact with the mentors in the labs, and that will actually help me to hone myself and even my work. So these were the two reasons we started doing that. Thankfully, we started getting selected at really prestigious platforms. We were part of Venice Biennale College Cinema twice. College Cinema, and then Venice Gap Financing Market, NFDC, Film London Production Market. And so that happened, and because of that we got access to sales agents. They started knowing the film, they started following our journey. And no one was still giving us the finance, even though everyone was saying, oh, they love the film and this and that. It was finally Neeraj had to mortgage his house and raise the money. So that's the that's how brave sometimes you have to be to make something that you really want to make. And there were other producers who are also friends. They also came on board as a producers. And during post production, Naren and Siddharth Mir, who's our colorist, they came on board as producers, and that's how we could finish the post-production phase of the film. And during that, we were showing the film around, and even to the festivals. And yeah, I mean, that was the actual journey. A lot of rejections, waiting, heartbreaks, crying. I cried 4 times while shooting the film, so all that happens. So, but now it's a happy time. So, I mean, at least this helps you forget that all you went through. It takes a really long time and patience and perseverance actually. And yeah, that's how we did it. Or I think all the other independent filmmakers, that's how they do it, I think. And I just sometimes feel that it should not be that hard. But I also feel when audience start going to independent films, that's when things will also change. People will start supporting more. So that's another request. I'm making a request, even though you guys have seen the film here. I hope you have enjoyed it. When it releases, it's releasing in America, and even Canada. Strand Releasing has come on board to distribute the film. So when it releases, please buy a ticket again, go and watch the film, tell your friends, family, and it will be really helpful. And when you guys will start doing that, more and more such films will come out. So please do that.
You're here. We have time for one last question. We can take you right here.
Hi, Rohan.
I
It is so nice to finally see this film, and he's so right about the script. I've read the script, and it was exactly how he had written.
really, how did you read the script?
I think you are not recognizing me, but it's fine. I'll get on to my question, and I'll come say a hi so you can see me closer. But I was supposed to design the costume.
Sure, Shruti, yes. Oh, so I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
She was supposed to do the costume, but she got admission in New York to study further the
Yeah.
costumes, and she was like, "Okay, I'm going." And but
And
I was
I
happy,
really
and I
like
just
that.
I'm happy that I'm meeting her here, and that's great. That's great. She has done some good films. You guys should watch her films.
Thank you so much, but this was not about personal promotion. I noticed you got NFDC to fund, and there is a scene which has nudity. And I'm from India, and I'm wondering what was the process of getting, like, how did you put that in your docket? How did you get NFDC to come on board?
I mean, NFDC, when we were in the lab, they had the script, and I hope they read it.
That's it.
I mean, anyway, I mean, we went through a lab. Like, it was a 3-month-long lab. Everything was there in the script since the beginning. This, whatever the nudity that you see, it was mentioned in the script. So everyone, the selection committee read it. My mentors knew it. So everyone knew it. So I don't think, and I don't think, that the nudity is there to titillate the audience. I mean, I could have shown them having sex or something, but that was not the point. The point was to show two men being in each other's arms and just sharing that tender moment. It's much more nuanced and emotional moment than anything else. And I just wanted to show that because most of them we see toxic masculinity in films, but I wanted to show this. So that was the reason. And that even All We Imagine was passed without any cuts. They understood that there's a reason for that. And I just hope that Censor Board or even everyone else understands why this is there. And I just hope that Indian audience gets to experience this film the way all of you or the rest of the world is experiencing, with no compromises. I just hope for that. So let's see.
It was beautifully done. It was so tastefully done. It was one of the most wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Rohan, thank you so much for the film.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for staying back. Thank you so much.